Hello, I am John, and I'm recording this intro for what feels to be a millionth time because I cannot get it right. So let's get through it quickly before I fail again. Over the past week or so, I've been working on a project in which I show you map spots that you may have not known about, because I really enjoy that and casual has been really unplayable. Many of those map spots are going to be just like this one, where you can get up in places, and they're going to be rather useful because not only can you spam the card from here, you can also spam the spawn if you have some demo lineups that I'm going to be showing here. Before you go through the timestamps that I've given to you in the description, I want you to know that I'm going to be covering the information in two main ways. About the maps that I'm very knowledgeable about and I've played for hundreds and thousands of times, I'm going to be giving you voiceovers with all of my thoughts and insights on any kind of spot I can think of as I go through it. And about the maps that I know quite less, I'm just going to be leaving you with some music and the spots to enjoy. Most of the spots that I'm going to be giving you are going to be spy oriented, but if I find something extraordinary for soldier or something for sniper, I'm going to be showing that off as well. With that out of the way, I hope you can learn something new, because I know that I did, and I hope that you have some fun with it. I'll see you next time. At first, you have this spot, which can be jumped on here. It's mostly useful for the start of the game. Then you have all the spies pixel walks can be done by soldier by just rocket jumping up. You just rocket jump up here. You can get stuck there, you can get stuck there, but I found those positions not to be that helpful. Also, things that require jumping, first of which is here. Usually it's done by demo players because it requires quite a good rocket jump to be able to jump on top. But yeah, you can get here as a soldier as well. Then a few things only used by soldier. We go up here. You go all up on this spot. Not particularly useful unless you're camping the roof in this position for whatever reason you're doing that. I cannot get my rocket jumps to work. Okay, so on that rock at the end, you can fall damage cancel by sliding on top of it. It's usually more relevant when you're doing faster jumps. But regardless of what you're doing, it has a slight slope, which you can just use as a surf. Another spot is right up here. You can shoot people, you can shoot sentries, and sentries usually do not see you unless they're built very, very up close to here, in which case just spam them from back there. Other spots, you can climb, not here, but you can climb up here. You can climb up here with any class. It gets kills. You can climb up here with any class. It gets killed. You can get on top of here, but I find this to be rather useless because even once you get up there, first of all, it's less useful because it's difficult. You might as well climb on top of that side or that side, depending on which side you're expecting the enemies to come from, and just get kills like that. And to jump up here, you need one rocket, you make sounds. To climb up here, you don't need any rockets, you don't make sounds. To climb up here, you don't need any rockets, you don't make sounds. Okay, hope that makes sense. When you come up here, of course, there's the roof that you can get up on top. You can shoot through this part. Same goes for that side, goes both ways. Up here, you can jump up here, you can just hide. Not particularly useful, because people can see you when entering here. In here. Oh, of course, there was one soldier spot that I missed. There is this one, where you can jump up. So I'm not even gonna bother showing it with soldier because it's very known. You can just jump up here, you can wait here. I've already missed one spot for soldier around here. Shoot people down from there while protecting your back from here. Okay, so as a spy, usually you have one way to go around there. There is a second, that's a bit obvious. Both of the main ways. There is the tunnel, but there's a fourth. You can go around here. You can always climb up. It's not as difficult as you may think by me struggling to make that last jump, but you can just get up here. If you want to get up on this rock, you should carry up momentum, which is going to be explained a little bit more in the future, but basically, if you stand very close to it, you might struggle to get on top. But if you carry some momentum, not only are you able to very easily slide on top because as you slope, you also make a higher jump because that surf lets you carry out your forwards momentum and make it into a vertical one. Okay, that's easily understood. The same thing, you can climb these rocks. It's very climbable from both sides. Not a problem. This jumps, some people seem to struggle when you're on top of this one. Don't try to jump up there immediately, but try to jump to this gap where this rock meets this. It's even better if you do it more quickly. 1 second. When you jump up here, you can very easily just close the gap if you aim for the top of this rock instead of this part, because I see very many people trying to jump up there and not always making it. So regardless of which angle you come by, you just jump on top of that rock. This is climbable, absolutely useless spot unless you're playing sniper and there's somebody you want to outsnipe there, but there rarely is because nobody climbs there. About these rocks, they're also climbable. You can go up here like that. These rocks are climbable from both sides. This side you can climb up from there. This side you can climb up from here. This spot is more useful for sniper, so I'm gonna show it later. These rocks, they're climbable here, but it's a bit of a slow method. So I much more prefer just climbing on this side of the rock and jumping over whatever is happening here, unless it's one person just sitting around in this corner. You're gonna be fine because you can jump on top of sentries, on top of people, because you have quite a bit of height advantage. Okay, these rocks, they're also climbable from that direction. I don't find myself using that often because very rarely do you need to hurry up and climb up on this spot. Now about the pixel walk, one of my most used pixel walks by far because I play this map the most. You can climb up here. I don't ever use the plus strafe bind to get up here, but you can if it helps you. There's also a slower method to get on top of it, but I recommend learning it the proper way. If you manage to get in here, you can just start the jump from one pillar back, and many people find it's easier to get on top of this one, but it's up to you. Okay, now it's technically possible to jump towards this side as a spy, but it's not necessarily useful because when people exit out the spawn, they rarely go to that direction. From there, it's quite difficult to get a jump on to this side. That means you most likely are going to fall down and then try to stop someone. If you stand here, you're gonna stand up here and people come around this area and they start rocket jumping because soldiers use this wall for wall jumps. So all you have to do is you have to jump on top of them. You can get aerial stabs rather easily. So that's why I prefer this over that. Another thing is when people exit through here, if you don't move around too much, they're probably not going to notice you because you're paying attention to the enemy snipers and the enemy team. And from here it's not visible. From here it's very visible, but you'd be surprised how many people don't see that. I get checked, I get seen maybe once every 15 attempts to start the game in there. Okay, this climb, rather simple. You can climb up here. Okay, my mistake. I messed up. You can come up to this side of the rock. Right, okay, 1 second. Apparently it's not that simple. Yeah, you can come up on this rock. You can also be here. You can jump to left side, you know, if you come here, you can jump to the left side to jump over the spawn door. If you come here, you can jump over to the right side and jump over the spawn door. Even another great thing is if you're standing around here, you can always stand up on this spot lower. There is a walkable spot, which usually is a bit easier to access from here, and you can literally jump stab people from here. Okay. We move further. I don't necessarily think there are many things to show us by here, except I lied. Here, there is a way to climb this up. You go on top of the small rock, you go on top of here, you jump on... you jump on top of that thing. It's very similar to the jump you do on the other side of the tunnel, but it's doable. Also, this rock, great way to just jump around to make sure that there's something in between you and your enemies, that way they cannot shoot you. Here, learn to get up here instead of needing to use the stairs, because when people push out, if you're disguised, or especially if you backpedal, it's a really great thing to get up on. That way, not only you can jump over people, that way you seem a bit more legit as a scout disguise. Okay. As a spy, more things that are used is this. I don't find it useful because it's overused. Everyone's using that. That means it's very predictable. Better things are here. You can jump stab people from. Also, when you're escaping with the invisibility watch, if you cloak here, hide in this corner. Nobody ever checks that corner. Same around here. Use that for trick stabs. Use this thing for trick stabs. You probably already know this one. This one as well, as I've showcased before. You can just stand on the corner. People who pass through here, even if they check the corner, usually they're not gonna see you. Let's go to this side. There is a spot for sniper where you can get a funny angle and get a bit of protection from the other side, but I don't necessarily find it useful. Okay, this rock is climbable. No use for that. This rock is climbable. Very little use for that. You can jump here, 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 and then on top of the blue box. From here you can't really go anywhere. Not very useful. You can jump on top of the red box by jumping here. A very easy jump. Another spot here for invisibility watch. You can hide. Okay, let's move a little bit further. I might be missing a spot or two. When you cross here, if you ever need to go down the stairs, don't go the stairs like that. Either jump on top of here to cut the big corner, or if you're going wide, just still jump off of that. That way you can jump over people that are just finishing to get over up on the stairs. Yeah, sorry, I'm a bit coarse, as you can hear my voice. I've been commentating over my map discoveries for the past 3 days for quite a long time. This is an awesome spot for escaping with the invisibility watch, or even the dead ringer. If you get caught off guard in here, you can jump in here and go up on here. If the flame particles didn't touch you, or if the people didn't splash you with damage while you were jumping, they're probably not gonna see that. You can also stab people that are coming down the stairs. If they're coming down brainlessly, you can jump over them, you can stab them. In here, not particularly anything of use, just use these railings to get stabbed. In here, this is a very obvious way to go around. Sure, you can jump up here as soldier, but that's useless as shit. This is jumpable. This is jumpable. You can come up here. You don't have to jump on that thing. It's just another way for maybe newer players if you don't know that you can go that way around. Okay, perfect. That took me about a minute and a half at most, including changing music. Okay, so yeah, that jump is definitely doable. This railing catches people off guard. You can align yourself with that. Yeah, if you see somebody flashing here, you know, you see a shadow going through there, you can just jump over and you're gonna get the kill most of the time, unless they stop around here because your team is shooting from there. People really don't pay attention from, you know, when you align yourself like that, you see a shadow, jump over. Around here, yeah, this is one of the few spots. If you know somebody's going to be trying to approach you by splashing the, you know, shooting rockets at the ground, you can come up here for the splash damage not to reach you. Also quite okay for hiding from people, because if you come up here quickly enough while being invisible, usually flame particles are not going to reach you if the pyro is not looking up. Okay, around here, trick stab space or trick stab spot. This you can go through windows. That wasn't a clean one, but you know, you can fit through there very easily. If you go jump from further, you're not gonna bang your head as I am. But yeah, around here, easy stabbed from that side. When you are here, easy stabbed from this side. Nobody ever checks this corner because once you pass through here, first of all, you cannot see that. Second of all, usually you're a bit more worried about people being from those sides, not even the windows. So when you put yourself in that situation, just walk down and get the kill. Okay, these things are awesome. If you ever get caught out in this area for whatever reason, maybe there's a teleporter here and you see people approaching. First of all, you can see people approaching if you just jump up, or you can hear people, or you know, you jump, you see a bit stuff through the ground. If people are approaching you and you are cornered here, just jump up here and jump over them. More often than not, you even avoid flame particles because they don't expect you to jump over. It's also a decent spot for trick stabs. I might have some clips, but yeah. Okay, let's go to tires. That's how this, well, the location in there is called, because there are huge ass tires. Sure, there are places you can jump around. As I said, you can shoot through there. In here, if you want to camp as a spy, this spot is awesome. It's even better if you have your sniper there, who is oblivious. You can protect him by just walking off. Just big note, don't jump off into your enemies. First of all, you're gonna hit your head. Second of all, it just takes a way longer time to reach them. So just jump down, stab them, up, walk down, and stab them. If people check you, usually they pass far enough through the door for you to weasel your way out anyway. So even if your sniper dies, you're probably gonna live. You know, if maybe too many people come in here, maybe get a stab run out. This is climbable if you would like to surprise someone, but the thing is, there is a roof above you, so the only way to reliably get stabs would be to strafe out of the way, which is not necessarily that cool. This is one of my favorite spots. In here, just jump on the ladder. You can jump stab people from that height very easily. Sometimes if people turn the corner too sharp for whatever reason, you might just over jump them as well, you know, jump over them too far. So keep that in mind. So in Badwater, there's also this spot. These ladders are not removed. They are here, but they're even more powerful because instead of tires, there's a big gap. So people that are taking this wide, if people are taking this wide, you can just escape, or you can just go through this area. And if people are taking it close, you are always going to get them if you move well. Okay. Shadow, nothing good for spy. Let's go to the map room. This is a map room because in some versions of the map there is a map on the wall. No, this is the map room. Okay. I call it the balcony for whatever reason. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Okay, this jump is doable. It's also doable from this direction. The only time I might want to use this jump is if somebody's chasing me here and they visually saw me climb up here and they are a bit hesitant to go out. You can either jump over the side or just jump to this direction because they might walk out checking up here and they turn your back to you. Okay, map. Windows. These windows are tall enough for you to stab people from. Usually when they're open, they're easier to stab from, although you can even jump off of. Because they're tall enough, you can jump off of them when they're not tall enough. Okay. In here, practically nothing of use, so you don't have a reason to be here as a spy most of the time. You can climb that if you want to camp, just make sure to be undisguised because people can see you with spawning wall hacks. These boxes are quite cool because you can jump stab people from them, but the better spot would be to be around here and once again align yourself with the spawn door. That way you see the spawn door just slightly, make sure to be undisguised, that way people don't see you with spawning wall hacks. If they don't have teleporters, they only have a reason to go here or go in a bit closer. If you're here and you see the spawn door opening, you can catch people at around this spot, and in which case, whether they were going to there or down, they're gonna be in the same area and you can jump over them and stop them. Okay, I think we have only one more interesting jump left, which is, you know, this is a very simple jump to this side. Also, this is a very simple jump, although you might not want to use it that often because it doesn't lead too much. Yeah, okay, that's the jump. You can do it. It's not that difficult, especially if you do that from a B-hop here and there. You can do that with a B-hop here, there, and there if you want to be fancy, but yeah, that's about it. Okay, the problem is if I manage to actually hit a B-hop. Yes! Yes, it's doable. It's 100% doable. I just did it. Okay, so I'm very happy that my first recording crashed because I was able to test this jump out and actually get it to work. Because last time I wrote it off as perhaps not doable, but now I got bored of explaining stuff. And okay, it is doable. I don't think it's doable the other way around because that is slightly lower than that. So you might need 3 B-hops for this. But at the same time, you just, you know, if you're inside here, just jump down here and walk. It's not like you save time by jumping to this. Yeah, I think we are good. So now just the last thing, a couple of tips as a sniper in here. As I've said, I'm not going to be doing this for every single map, only for certain maps that I'm actually very experienced in as playing a sniper. So when you're just starting out with the game, or rather when the game is just starting, you don't ever want to pick main spawn unless you're really trusting your capabilities to snipe, or if there are no enemy snipers. First of all, because when you peek here, you are open to very many different angles. So if you peek just close, you're already 1 and 2 angles that can shoot you. If you peek wide, there's the 3rd and there is the 4th, and then, you know, crazy people that start there could be the 5th. Just saying that you're open to everything, and sure, everything is open to you, but you have to understand that you're not always the hunter, you're sometimes also the prey. So my favorite part, my favorite way to start the game is here, because first of all I can clean the rocks, because on the rocks there is one angle in which you can look at the main spawn and here, but usually you peek at the main spawn, that's why I don't show yourself at the very beginning. So the sniper scoped in here, you are around here, you shoot them through that. And if they're not there, you just move your crosshair. Sometimes there are many sentries, people waiting around here. Spies that are waiting for drop stabs, that's why I don't start the game there as a spy. Another angle, NGs, snipers, whatever is there, and then you can peek out here. Yeah, sure, sometimes people will jump you here, but just use your ears not to lose that. Then, well, when the game goes on, this is an angle for NGs, also for people that are just going to the health pack. You might get cheats if you hit too many shots through that. Also, this angle is quite quick to peek the enemy snipers, especially if they're holding just the main angle, or if, you know, you're only visible from there, but that is also visible to you, so deal with that information what you will. Yeah, you can snipe people from here. Then, if you really need to push out to this direction, let's say the enemy team is positioned mostly here, and you don't have necessarily too many snipers to worry, or you just kill them. If they're holding this way too well, as I've mentioned, this rock is climbable. You can see anyone that's up there, sentries, dispensers, everyone's heads, even if they crouch. Okay, now when you peek this angle, you never want to peek it wide. You always want to climb on top of the rock and then peek it quickly. You can pre-aim where the snipers are going to be, so you have an advantage. You know, you just walk out, you peek into that side, you walk while peeking, you shoot them. If they're not there, not a problem. If there are more than 2 snipers, after you take a shot, you can always slide down, that way you might mess up the other sniper's aim. Or if you just want to quickly pass this, you walk up here, you slide down, or you walk up here and you jump over. Just mix it up. This is a very horrendous angle if you want to really annoy people. You can snipe from here, but I wouldn't recommend it. But it is an angle. So here is a very strong angle when the game starts. Just make sure not to walk too much forward, because the more you walk out, the more people see your head. If you have unusuals such as the clouds or anything especially bright, people are going to see you. And keep in mind that they can still shoot you quite easily. You know, this part of the rock is shootable, so either predict when they're going to come out, or I wouldn't say this entire part of the rock is shootable, but you know, they can still shoot you quite a bit when you can't even see them, because here you can be as a sniper around here and you can find an angle on the guy that's there if they're peeking out too much. So if you're peeking here, don't stand on here like an idiot, because once again you're open to everything. Come down here, you can shoot them down there. Also, as a sniper, or if there are enemy snipers that are quite good and they're not using that rock to have elevation, when you're crossing the sight line, don't go here, go around on the bunker, that way your head is less visible. Once again, if you have unusuals, you're visible, but, you know, they've always been a disadvantage. One thing when peeking common angles, so this is one of the most common angles in the entire map, probably, except the ones at the very end. People always are holding this angle. That's why you don't hold this angle. You hold either here, that way you see just a bit there, but people that are peeking close cannot see you. Or here, if you're feeling cocky, that way you can see everyone. That way people cannot pre-aim you, because if you come here, usually the way to peek this is from the left and from the right, both of which are very, very predictable. That's why if you have a chance, or if you have a teleporter on the other side, take it, and when you peek the angle, slide shot. You can be pre-aiming at people that are already there. That way you don't look like an idiot slowly inching your way towards there and then get shot before you even see the person. Or, you know, before you try your luck with the enemy's reaction time. Just jump down, slide shot. Sometimes you can even 1v2 snipers if they're not very good, especially if you just make them miss one shot with a slide shot. Same goes for practically anywhere here. Whenever you have a chance, just slide down into the angle instead of walking into it. That's what I kind of try to show with this thing. I'm sorry, my voice is absolutely dying. Yeah, just jump down, slide shot. from this side as well. I'm not gonna show you much. In here you can hide your head while peeking very, very close to the angle. That way the enemy from the other side cannot even see it. If you want to be a bitch, you can hide around here and... well, yeah, there was an angle. There was a way to shoot that at the very, very end. You just force the enemy sniper to peek out more and then you just shoot them. But... okay, not necessarily many things I'm gonna tell you about this, but let's talk about these cement pipes. Once again, slide shots. First of all, you can check this area for this, for the snipers in here. If they're not in here, you know that they're a bit closer in here because everyone is in the stupid spot. So, just once again, slide shot pre-aiming, you get people in ways that get called you cheaters, or you know, as a cheater very, very often. Just jump down, slide shot. My aim is not necessarily very accurate because I don't have anyone to shoot in there, but still. Okay. Let's say, yeah, so the reason you want to slide shot once again is because inching left or right from here is stupid. Plus, if you see that there are more snipers than you can handle, you can always crouch away. Second thing, relocate. Don't stand only in there, don't stand only in here. In this window you have the spawn, you have this angle, usually sometimes snipers are here, quite rarely. You have this angle, everyone knows about it. Not many people know you have this angle as well. So when a sniper is hiding in there, or when he's peeking aggressively, by peeking aggressively I mean that he is shoving his face against the window when he's not getting counter-sniped. Even if you're not playing sniper, you can just swap to sniper, you can come back in the middle of the spawn door, and you can shoot him through the railing and you can get a headshot on him. So just keep that in mind, cocky snipers can be kept in check with cheeky angles. Okay, but here once again, if you really need to peek that angle again, slide shot, either to the barrels, or you can slide down to the main choke. It's just a good habit to get into, especially because this map allows it so well. Oh, another very small detail, if you want to not get fall damage when going here, just don't jump off of the thing at the top and land on the railing. Okay, so that is for the most part it, I believe. Okay, a very basic quick rundown of Borneo. Spy can backstab people from here. Other classes can hide around here. You can hop around here. You have this rock that can be climbed from this side. It's not a difficult jump. You can jump on top of people from there. Starting from the other side, of course, there is always this jump where you can jump on top of these boxes, but I'm not sure if it's too useful because usually the car just goes off and then you cannot do the jump anymore. Maybe for starting, up to you. These tires you can trick stab people off of. This surface, you can slide it. Usually it's not that useful unless a person is just a bit out of your reach. Then if you manage to surf on top of them, then sure, you can get on top of them a bit easier. But I wouldn't trust this one because it's quite low to the ground and you need to have quite a good jump. This is my favorite spot. A very quick cycle around, because when you see a spy jumping down, usually you would expect him to go here, especially even if you don't hear fall damage, it still does the trick. So when you're pushing up this location as any other class, when you see a spy jump down, you will have 1 or 2 seconds before you turn around, because you're mentally, the spy for you is running around here, and you want to catch him off guard, you know, when you can't just start shooting him, because you can't shoot him through the wall. You're gonna turn around when you expect him to turn the corner. As a spy, you can exploit that. If you go through here, here, and there, people are almost never turning around unless they have another reason to turn around. So yeah, just use this to exploit the timing in which people turn around in these locations. You can, of course, change stuff up, trick stab from this location. Also, you can start in here. I notice that if you're crouched here, sure, you're visible, but people usually have bigger concerns and they don't necessarily shoot you all the time. Explosive classes or scouts that jump on top of the roof get very caught off guard when you jump on top of here and then you try to stab them. Scouts disguises also work very good on this spot because not everyone knows that you can climb here without a double jump. These walls less useful because, well, unless maybe you're pushing out and you were forced to rotate, so then you might as well take the high ground, but that's about it. Okay, let's start from more of the left side still. All of these windows, one second, all of these windows have collision, so you can hide in over the invisibility watch. Same goes to this side, but sadly they're not good for trick stabbing as in other maps, because jumping out of them is very difficult. So not something to rely upon at all. Around here, turn the corners with a high ground, of course. In here, one of the most known climbs, just go around here. One of the less known climbs is to jump on top of these windows. Oops, my bad. There you go, around these windows, and usually it's not that difficult. I'm sorry, I just woke up. Come on. Can climb on... Yeah, you can climb on top of the windows. One of the less known climbs is climbing on top of the windows and then on top of this rock. From this rock you can jump on top of here and do this whole thing backwards. Or you can jump on there. You can also use this rock as another destination from here. You can jump on top of here to connect it with this. Up to your creativity, whatever you want to do. Also, keep a note from this jump. You should always know that most of the things in Borneo are walkable on the other side, especially walls that are textured like that. So use that to your own advantage. Okay, around here, I know that this rock is climbable. It's not that difficult of a climb as well. You just need to, once again, run in with higher velocity. That way you get kind of pushed up. I'm not sure of the use of this climb, but, you know, just some high ground. Yeah, you can stand on top of here, you can stand on top of there. Similar thing here, except you need to strafe around the rock where it has a lower ledge over there. So it's a bit more difficult, because if you try to go straight up, you're just gonna bump it because there's no ledge to slide up on. But like that, you can make it, once again, not really much of a use for it other than catching people off guard. Okay, I think I'm missing something still. Yeah, of course I'm missing something. There are some stupid ledges like this one, which you can stand on. It's absolutely useless because, let me show you the brushes. Where you have the brushes, this small part is sticking out. Okay, let's start from the left side. This is the most commonly used route for spy. For me, you can jump on top of here. You can climb it in this way. It's also doable backwards. So yeah, just use it, because instead of, if you want to turn a sharp corner, you can, you can go close, but if you have a high ground, you can jump on top of people that are here and everything. From this side, if you want to just jump on the cart instead of crossing, you can also use the smaller rock, but I would still use the taller one, unless you know that people just saw you and you need to do stuff quickly. Because, if you're here, you still have more maneuverability options. Okay, around in here, these barrels, awesome for trick stabbing, because they are inside. People don't necessarily expect that too much. You can also do that from here. This barrel, that corner, but it's far less useful. I would just say the safer the option, the better it is. Okay, technically you can trick stab people off of these windows as well. Like that. But since there are planks and these things, I would just say that don't bother with the windows. The only time when I would bother with the windows is maybe on this side, because that would catch people off guard, and especially because people are being forced into lower ground, so jumping over them is going to be easier. But yeah, that's about it. Even if you mess this up, if people walk under, you can just fall down on top of them. Okay. Here, I usually wouldn't go to this location because it doesn't give you much of an escape. Let me give you the clip brushes again. There's another spot where you can stand on here, except this one is a little bit more stupid because this one serves absolutely no purpose. There we go. You can stand on top of that. Absolutely unnecessary. It comes to here, around this corner, this plank for trick stabs. I'm pretty sure that you can climb on top of that, but because of the window, not much use. You can stand here for invisibility watch, but that's about it. Okay, let's move to this side. This area for spy, decent. You have these climbables. You can maybe use them for something. I've never gotten any actual use for them. You can cycle around here. That way, you cut the person that's chasing you is gonna see you falling down. When he gets closer, he already doesn't have the vision on the side, unless he's strafing like that for whatever reason. So, just an option to try. So, for other classes, I'm just gonna put it here. You can climb on top of here for practically, even scout, pyro, soldier, demo, whatever you want. Climbable, it can have some use. Here, sadly, no way to climb it, as far as I'm aware. One of the most common climbs that you're going to see is here on top of this rock and here, and then you can jump over. The faster version of that, if you want to use B-hops or something, usually you can go from top of the wall, from here on the wall, and then you can walk up. Let me see if I can get it for you. Well, not particularly faster, but still another option. You can climb up here, sometimes catches people off guard. I have clips of me running in here. There's a person watching me, but because I run to the side, jump up here, they don't even pay too much attention to me. Climbing those spots just makes scouts disguise work far more. Here, you can go to this side, and then there is a jump to that side. If I cannot do that, I will pull up a clip of me doing that in my previous session, where I wasn't talking at all. No, never mind, not that difficult, but and doable. Also keep in mind that these walls are no roadblocks. You can jump from one side to the other. You can also use them as side blockers when crossing. These jumps are not difficult. I wouldn't recommend jumping to that side though, because the elevation here is far greater. Okay, we go down here. All of these roofs, climbable. Very useful because you can climb them from the side of here. A very easy jump. You just walk over. When people push through here, you can jump on top of them. And the good thing is, since there is another roof, if people get out too fast, let's say it's a scout and you don't react quickly enough, you're still gonna cut them off at the corner around here, unless they take it wide, which practically nobody does. Okay, these rocks climbable, not particularly that much use. To this, you can climb on top of these, but not further. So if you want to use this for climbing around, you can also do that. This, I've seen people surf the corner around here. I don't find much use for that, other than, to just slightly brush against it to maybe cut the corner as sharp as possible. Once again, if you get hit into a wall like that with a melee hit, Or probably you can even just get on top of people like that. Okay. Of course you have these things, not particularly useful, at least not that much. There are things that are not brushed off in here, but the problem with that is that they are covered with something above, so you can't really stand on it, at least not very reliably. Okay, we move further. One of my favorite spots for spy, on the inside here, you have a way to trick stab people. On the outside here, you also have a way to trick stab people. This is not something that I found. This is heavily inspired by Triss in my experience, because I've seen him do that, and then I've been hunting those kind of stabs for years, and now they happen quite consistently. What matters is that you manage to get on and off of quickly, and you don't randomly wait around here, but you rather either see people walking up here and expect them to push out, see them to push out here, or you just bait them into it. I've had, yeah, those kind of stabs happen quite often. Around here, this roof is standable, but only on those small things, because if I turn on brushes, they are not brushed off, but the entirety of the roof is. I don't see that much use for it, but because they are above the roof, your feet might be hidden quite a bit for a soldier or anything, so you might get some kills like that. Okay, we have these things, just to keep the high ground. We see to this side. Okay, we have... Oh, 1 second, I just fell off. We have this way to go around this sign. And you can do the opposite way. Once again, you can use it as a side blocker to protect yourself from projectiles, all that kind of stuff. Then when we come here, there is one climb up here, which you can use for invisibility watch if you want. Especially if people are pushing through here, or you just escape from here and there are people there, you just go up here and you skip this entire section of stairs. I don't find it to be much more fast compared to just walking up manually, because if you jump here, up and up, it might be only faster if you need to go left, but if you need to go left, you just go left from here. So it's not useful for map traversal, it's just useful for knowing that it's there in case you need to escape. Okay, this is a very common climb. Yeah, you can use it practically with any class, because you can jump up here, heavy with Tomislav, pyro with backburner, whatever you prefer. For spy, it's quite great, because you can just wait for a kill to walk in. Also, other classes, soldier, demo, you can stand it around here. You can stand around here. You can stand on here, because this wall isn't brushed off. I thought that theoretically, maybe it's possible to jump from this spot to that. But I don't find much use for it, because even if you could, there's nothing you can do here as a spy, unless maybe wait for people from this corner to turn the side, but I don't think it's worth the hassle. Up on here, we have the lamp. I really love to use it for trick stabs, because it disorients people when you jump here and then jump back. They don't know how you're, you know, they see you floating for a minute or just jumping around like that. Usually they just stop thinking. Usually it's pyros that they get that way, because, you know, it's far better than going a predictable way where they can see where you can go. You just kind of manage their expectations. Okay, at around here, I didn't mention this part of the map. This jump, very useful, very easy. Here, quite useful, very easy. On this side, this rock should be climbable. Well, these things, not particularly that useful. Let me have brushes. Yeah, I think maybe these rocks can be climbable from this side, but I really don't find any use for them. Yeah, they're definitely climbable from this side. 1 second, let me just get it. Yeah, even if they're not, there's not much use for the rocks, because if you're on top of them, let's see, without brushes. Oh, maybe you're not much visible, so you can figure it out. I'm pretty sure that this is climbable, but it's just nothing that would interest me, because from this side, if I'm approaching the cart, I would jump from here. And if you need these boxes to climb up, it's useless to approach that side. So just use this, or just approach the car from the other side altogether. You know, just go here and then jump up. Okay. We move a bit further, we skip past this section because there's not that much to do. Oh yeah, of course I forgot this thing. You can hang around here, up above the passageway, and because this is blocked off by things, you're not gonna be seen. Quite okay for explosive classes, heavy, but there's no reason you would want to camp that with red, so yeah, just keep that in mind. Okay, we start from the left side in this area. This jump is doable from here up on top of this roof. It's not that difficult. It takes a bit of practice because you have to avoid the corner, especially if you're not too used to strafing that kind of tight. But then other things, you can come up here as a soldier, come up here as, well, as a soldier, I'm saying any kind of class that has mobility. Same with this thing, you can stand on top of here, kind of less useful, but still. As a spy, one of the most useful jumps in here is the fact that you can jump over this window instead of having to go all the way around through a tight corner. You can outrun enemies to snag their health packs if they're going for a health pack. You know, you're fighting here and then you can jump in here and snag their health pack if they are going all the way around. Or you can steal health packs from your team, but... Oh, awesome. Let me just reconnect. My connection is so bad that even single player servers are kicking me off of them. Okay, so we finished with this roof being able to be climbed up. You can climb up on here. Sadly not as a spy though, because these boxes lack just a little bit of height to make it. From here you can all just, for very beginners, instead of walking all the way around, just crouch jump over the box to save a little bit of time. And you know, it's the small things that add up instead of making huge plays for spy. Okay, so one thing that I didn't know about too much was that you can climb up here, which is not that useful for soldier, but especially because these roofs exist. You can also climb up on here, and you know, I can jump around here. So usually I would say that this is only doable with a cart here, which is something that I'm gonna cover in the next, you know, next time when I'm covering stuff. I'll do some stuff with cart jumps. With this, of course, you can always climb up on top of this corner of the box, which is sticking out. It's not a difficult jump. I'm just struggling for some reason. What the hell? Why am I struggling? Why am I struggling with the box jump? Come on. What the hell? I have never struggled with this jump in my life. Yeah, I just climbed up from the window. But yeah, you can just jump it from here. What the hell? Yeah. Here we go. I think I was just trying to climb it from the wrong spot. Yeah, sometimes NGs build teleporters here, but it's not a very good spot because it can be easily seen through here. Okay, then let me do this side. This is a climb that everyone should know. You can go up here, you can go up on top of the yellow thing. You can probably also do the jump to the other side. Yeah. Just the yellow thing is there if you mess up. Let's say I just fall down, I didn't make it. You can jump up on the yellow thing to climb up instead of needing to go all the way around. In a similar idea, you can use these to move around the pillar, or rather around this corner from the other side, depending on what you need for that situation. You can also use that, well, no, probably, yeah, for that kind of looping, except, you know, the tighter it is, the more difficult it's going to be. With these things, of course, the boxes are climbable. You can climb up here. Make sure to use that. I use that every single game because this spot is not bad for jumping over people that they're pushing through here. If you keep it tight to the corner, you're not very easy to see, or usually you're not very easy to react to. Yeah. Around here, these things can be used for jumping on top of people. This is used for that a little bit less, but you can, you know, it's tighter, but you can still jump over people. These things easier to jump over people. It's difficult to get people to be baited in this area unless they have a teleporter that's built that's facing the direction that you cannot backstab. That way, when they teleport, you jump on top of them. Okay, we have this roof, also usable for soldier. We have this roof, also usable for soldier. These boxes for trick stabs, not very useful, but still there. This jump, something that practically nobody knows that is there for whatever reason, because it's quite an obvious jump. You have this entire balcony that's not brushed off, because if anyone ever bothered to check this up, you see that there's no brush blocking this off, and there are windows and everything to the side of it that sometimes have collisions. So, you know, there's that. It can also be done by heavies, because these windows can be climbed like that. You just kind of would need to do quite a few more jumps because you're slower, but that's it, it's still doable. Okay, we're moving to this side. There is this jump. You can climb on top of this corner. Once again, Chris, his influence, I've seen this in his Prague movie. Otherwise, I probably would not have bothered to check this. Because, or maybe I would have, because there's a brush, but who knows. Okay, around here, have the boxes for trick stabs, especially because the room is not that low. The roof, yeah. You can climb up here as a soldier. Once again, not necessarily much use for that. Practically any roof that if you turn the command on, you can see the roof is open, you can jump on top of it. In Borneo, all of them have collision as far as I'm aware. In here, jumps both ways once again to block the side. Except this jump to this side is slightly a bit more tight, but that's about it. You can also hang on top of the lamp as a soldier. You can probably hang around on top of here as well. No, I wouldn't think so. That's not necessary because you have the lamp. Also, you have this thing, which I don't know much use for that. You have this thing, you're a bit more use for that if you're camping here. This thing, a bit more use for that as well. Okay, now let's scan this room from left to right. We have this area where you can jump on top of this to jump higher over people, or rather to walk over people, because yeah, this is doable. Now let's check this side. Not particularly much use. Okay, then we go from here to here. All these chairs used for trick stabs. This chair used for climbing up these boxes. You can hop on top of the higher ones. You can hop on top of the lower ones. Lower ones are good enough for jumping over people. Same thing from these boxes. You can jump to that side. You can jump back. From here, from these boxes, you can jump on top of there. I would suggest using these boxes instead of the yellow barrels, because yellow barrels, while they're taller, they're also considerably further away. So this jump is just a little bit easier. From here, you can go down here. Also you can go to the side, which is here. You can jump on top of that, but that's also doable from here. I would just say using this to be able to, from here to here. And then, depending on where you need to go, you can go left or right. Yeah, especially because when you go here, if you see enemies, or if they don't see you fully jump on top of that, they're still gonna see you walking towards this direction. So you're jumping around here and managing your fall damage. That way they don't turn around. You might get some stabbed. The other side from here, just stairs. Okay. Let me see, what else do we have? Of course, we have these boxes, but they're not for spy, they're for soldier, pyro, demo, but they're not necessarily that useful because you don't get any interesting angles on top of practically anything. Yeah, nothing. Okay, so the biggest problem with showing spots on Breadspace is the fact that practically the entirety of the map is accessible and exploitable by spy. First of all, we have all of those orientations of clip brushes and walls. The problem is that this wall is straight and that wall is straight, and the other walls that are not straight, or rather 90 degrees, perfectly aligned with the map's coordination, can be wall bugged. So, because you have all of those pumpkin bombs, you can theoretically just get enough height to wall bug on top of these things if you just manage to hit a wall bug properly. So, I'm not going to cover any wall bugs. Just keep in mind that anything that is not perfectly aligned with this wall or that wall can be wall bugged, and use that as you wish. About map spots, we have these boxes, we have those boxes, not particularly interesting. This blue thing can only be jumped on by using the pumpkin around there. Once again, I'm not going to show how to get up on top on every single spot, because that would be just me covering every single prop on the map because of the pumpkins, but yeah. From here, you can climb on top of these rocks. It's not that difficult, but it's also not that useful. So from the smallest rock, you climb on top of this one, then you can climb on top. I do believe that you might be able to make the jump from here to the pumpkin, but usually I would say that's not particularly that interesting nor useful, because climbing these rocks is going to take you much more time than just going around. Yeah, you can make that not particularly useful nor interesting. Once again, these things climbable as any class. One thing to keep in mind is to make a pumpkin jump that is perfectly close to it, you need to have 140 plus HP, I believe, because at closest they do 144 or 140, I don't remember perfectly. But you have to have either kunai overheal or medics overheal to be up close. If you want to get less damage, you stand a bit further away, and you'd be surprised how far away they can still hit you from if you want to just make a very low and small jump. This pumpkin, you can use it to just go around. I sometimes use it just to jump up on top of here, just as a map traversal tool. Anything that is slanted can be used to fall damage cancel. Instead of just falling down stupidly, press the button towards the thing and you're gonna lose your velocity. Talking about velocity, let me have that on, that way you can see some stuff for the future. Yeah, so anything that is sloped can be fall damage cancelled on, and it can also be just, if you don't have much velocity, you can just stop on top of that for a while, but I don't find that to be very useful. Okay, some of the few spots around here, you can climb on top of these windows. Well, with a pumpkin jump. From these windows, you can jump on top of that lower part, so I would say that whether you want to get on the lower part or on these windows, if it's not a hurry, you can just aim for the windows, because for some people it might be easier to align yourself with that. While it seems... Come on. No, I'm editing the wrong command, my bad. When we have this, it might seem that you might be able to walk on these things, but since there is a clip brush, you can't. So it's just a useful thing to know that if you want to cross here, just go jump around the corner to be the safest. Okay, I'll move a bit further to not use up too much time. These lamps, walkable. You can wait for people to come out here. This you can slide off of. This also you can slide off of, but sadly with this one you cannot fall damage cancel. Or you can reduce the fall damage if you're very, very high up or something. But you can't do that properly because it is high up from the ground, so you're still gonna get fall damage even if you had 0 velocity at around here. Okay, let's go around through the left. We have this jump, not particularly too useful unless you're camping around to get stuff from this spot. This pumpkin, always dangerous, exploded because it has no use for jumping, so might as well just not give it to your enemy. Same with that one, really not much use for it. In this room, you can jump from here up on top of the doorway in case you want to camp, but once again, this window is here so people can see you through it. This keyboard is climbable. You can jump stab people from here to be a bit unexpected, but I would say that it's not worth even remembering. Yeah, when we go through the main here, there is not particularly anything of interest. These windows, once again, whichever window you want, all of them are climbable. Just up and down, up and down, up and down. You can use that, you can use that. Whichever thing you prefer, mostly for explosive classes, and they don't necessarily serve that much purpose unless maybe this one to camp this doorway backwards, but as a blue team you probably never want to camp unless the enemy is pushing very high out, or very much out. This pumpkin, not much use. You can jump on top of the door. Same about the other door, except from this side, you can jump from here to there. Yep. In here, there is a pixel walk, which you can get up on. It's just a bit difficult sometimes because you need the pumpkin jump and then you need to not fly past it. You need to bump your head on this and then you need to manage to get yourself enough into the wall to get on top of here. The other side, a bit easier. Once again, you can use the pumpkin for that. It's a very low jump, but yeah, you can camp both sides of this room. Around here, I tend to surf around a bit, especially because if there are people passing through here, you might just get to the side more than they expect from a spy in this area. Around here, yeah, the boxes are climbable, nothing of interest. This is climbable. Practically all the doors in here are climbable, so I'm probably gonna stop mentioning every single one of them. This you can walk on. This jump you can do it from here to there. Not that difficult. Doesn't serve that much purpose unless people are hiding behind there and you want to just pass over them. This pixel walk also climbable. Doesn't have that much. Oh, it's not even a. Yeah, it is a pixel walk. It doesn't serve that much purpose. The same as many of pixel walks. There are many spots on this map. They're just kind of purposeless. And here, once again, since we have the pumpkin down here, you can get on top of practically anywhere you want. You can get up on here. You can get up on those windows. You can get up on this wall. So I'm not going to show you every single thing. The doors, windows, doors, walkable, climbable. Once again, another pumpkin to jump the other direction. This pumpkin serves no use for jumping, so explode it most of the time, unless you want to wait for people to pass through this doorway. In here, nothing that interesting. Let's say we have, yeah, another pumpkin, not that useful. In here, most of the things are quite open, and the things that are not open, you know, you can't really climb that. You could try, but I don't think you're gonna get anywhere with it. And then we come to the last point, which is the most broken. So let's start from this side. All of these things, once again, since it's a slanted surface, you can use that for fall damage cancelling. You can use that around for sliding. I personally use that for, where is it spot? Yeah, usually this side is a bit more useful. So once again, since this is slanted, you can use that for climbing up. You can use that for this. If you're passing through this side, if you jump on top of the railing, you can build actually quite a lot of speed once you're going down and get no fall damage, but we're getting ahead of myself. With this, because the wall is slanted and you run into it, the velocity that you had that was horizontal is gonna get transferred a bit into the vertical part, so you can get on top of people. While usually you can't. It's not like I shrunk the bots or something. You bump and you climb on top if they're close enough. It's even easier if you get shot or if you get hit on your way up here. That way you get propelled even more up. But yeah, just keep in mind that these things allow you to do that. Yeah, this thing, practically the same idea. Once again, these doorways. Maybe this one is a little bit more useful if you want to dodge somebody, or you know, you maybe want to fall damage cancel, but since the slopes are here, not really much use for that. Yeah, okay, let's, I'll move a bit further. I might be missing some things, but once again, if I miss something, I'm gonna include it a little bit later. These things, climbable. This thing, walkable, not a problem. Okay, we have this side. These servers are climbable. You can get on top of here, not much use. On door, quite a bit more useful. On top of these servers, you can climb. They are a bit inconsistent because it used to be this specific part where you could get inside of here, but then they brushed it off. Okay, we go to the spawn, just use the elevations. Of course, these boxes and everything is climbable, just from the other side. Oops, yeah, don't do that. If you go in there, I don't think, oh no, you can just get out. Okay, it's not a problem. I thought you could get stuck in there, but usually you can. Come on, it's not that difficult. Yeah, you can get on top of here, but because it's right in front of the spawn, regardless of if you're disguised or not, you're gonna be seen. So, yeah, I wouldn't recommend using that too much. One of the few other brushes that I wanted to use maybe in the future, you have, theoretically you can jump up on this brush and get stuck because it's slanted. You can be above a cart and you can jump on top of people. But that is just purely theoretical. I might mention it a bit in the future when I have proof of it that it works. Yeah, but that's mostly about it. I'm not going to waste your time about Breadspace. The only interesting fact that I wanted you to know is that you can climb the slanted things and get on top of people. And other than that, any kind of texture that you see me go by or any kind of thing, it might have collision. For example, these things, they don't have collision, but they're sticking out. So you just experiment with what you want to experiment with. And you'll see what you can get away with. For example, yeah, I didn't mention this. It's not that great. As in, you're not gonna have any use for it. If you want to camp this doorway, just window, you can at least see stuff, unless you want to be protected from that side, I guess. But yeah, that's about it. Anything that you can see can be accessed with pumpkin gems, sticky gems, so I'm pushing all of this together into spy spots, and I'm not doing anything else for other classes. cannot be crouched, because if you start crouching, you just go through the roof like that. I am not crouched. I am able to be here. I cannot move forward. I cannot move backward. But the moment I start pressing crouch, I will... yeah, eventually. So if you want to do something there, you can. Once again, raining stickies from demo probably would be even easier to get up there. Or even if you use a base jumper, maybe you find a way to make it more consistent. But other than that, really not much to do from, well, with that spot. Really not something I would recommend. Okay, so this is the spot that concerns me the most. If you come here, where do you expect somebody to be? You check that side, but mostly you keep your view on this. But you can just jump up here, and you're not on the roof. You are actually on this wall, or rather this fence. Because, you know, you cannot jump on top of the roof. It doesn't have collision, but this fence for some reason does. You can walk all the way here and there. First person. Yeah, so this probably can be used by red team the most. If you, especially if you don't juggle around too much, you can just shoot people. Yeah. Yeah, so I wouldn't say that it's worth it to go here all the time, but since you have ammo, you have health, you are a very far away pick for a spy. You could get a minute of sniping in here at the very beginning, or even longer if nobody's picking you. Because you can shoot anywhere in their spawn, you can stay rather hidden between these rocks. It's not to say that people are not going to see you, I'm just saying that it's not necessarily going to be a very easy thing to get you out if you're decent at sniping. The angle that I want to show a little bit more is something that I have never ever seen anyone use, because it's rather well hidden. You need to manage to get up there. It's not as difficult as I'm making it out to be. You come up here and you can snipe anyone in this area. Problem is that these things are blocking your view, but the common sniping angle, such as that window or anything, they're not gonna hurt you because it's down there. People can't really see you. You can come closer to see a bit further there. You can go back all the way up to here to see a bit more. It's not particularly a very wide angle, but it's something if you're being pushed or if you're being constantly counter sniped, you can just get people out. Problem is, I really hope that this was going to be jumpable, that way I could just climb here with spy, go for leap stab, jump on the windows or whatever, but sadly it's just a little bit too tall. You can still do that as soldier or even pyro, you can do that, but I don't necessarily see much use other than maybe to camp the doorway that's underneath. Yeah, this is doable. So as long as the other person doesn't jump, you can get on top of them quite reliably. Oh yeah, you definitely can. Oh, perfect. Okay, so it is climbable with the cart. So, huge. You cannot climb here where I thought you could, but when the cart is going through here, you can climb on top of this small part of, I think it's those metal pipes are the reason that you can climb on top. Just jump towards this corner. How are the clip brushes? Oh, there's a clip brush that's actually helping you to get up. Okay, that's very funny. That's funny. So the thing that they put here to prevent people from, I don't know what, honestly, maybe just to even this out when it doesn't really even need evening out, you can jump on top of that brush, which is the reason you can get up there. If it wasn't the brush, you could not jump over this. So I really hope that they don't fix this because it's awesome. About Frontier, I know the map rather well. I would like to give you a very quick rundown, but because there are some difficult jumps and then there are some setups for certain classes, for sticky lineups and everything, I'm going to show that at the very end. But, so, sure, you can skip to that, but if you want to know some more basic spots and everything, you can stick around. I'll try to keep it as brief as possible. Okay, from this side, you can climb on top of these rocks, on top of those windows. I don't find those windows to be useful because you can just, you know, you can walk down and reach people's backs by losing 1 second or so. Around in this side, this is walkable, this is climbable, this is climbable. And sure, you can do it backwards as well. Just you have to crash through that. If you don't want to crash through that, you can go up this way. Really, anything goes. This spot is something you can wait for people to pass through that side, and you can preemptively jump on top of them, or you can just wait for them to pass. Because once you are in this location, usually nobody looks through those windows. Everyone's paying attention to what's happening through the door, or maybe even to that side, and the enemy is going to be that way. So very rarely does a person do a 90-degree turn into a 90-degree turn. They just go left. And sometimes you can either jump over their field of view, or they might even not notice you. Okay, the other side, very quick. These windows climbable. With spy can only reach the first and the second one. They're not necessarily that useful because... Why am I hearing water? Oh yeah, that. Okay. I got confused for a second. Okay. Very useful tips. Windows here. Climbable from this side to that side, so when people are chasing you, they're gonna pass here, and once they reach this part, you can already be behind them through the window if you manage your distance well. Same goes to this side. When people are climbing through the window, you can go to this side, you can jump around and stab them. This window as well, you can do stuff with it. You can go this way, you can go that way. You can even jump off of it, but you know, it's up to what you're willing to do with it. The problem with that window more is the same as with this entire structure that you can climb. The problem is that it's inside of the choke point. So if you're not doing stuff quickly, you're not gonna do it well. Let's say from here, I can jump on top of here, and then I can jump up and jump up here. I can walk all the way to there. But people are most of the time just going to see you doing that from one side or the other. So don't just use that all the time, you know. Pick your moments. Around this side, you can also go here, which is not a very difficult jump. This, however, there is a way to climb from here to there or from there to there, but I don't think it's worth it, no matter what team you're on, because the hardest part of the jump is around this plank, which you kind of have to nudge yourself against. That way you don't get any more, you don't hit your head on top of the plank that's above you. And it's quite tight of it. It's a quite tight jump, so I wouldn't suggest using it all that often. It only looks cool here and there. Yeah. As you can see, I haven't practiced that jump in quite a while because I never use it. I much more prefer just going through this way, jumping over the choke point and going up. Because standing on top of the structure, especially in this middle-ish area, when you're not necessarily on top but you're more in the middle, it leaves you quite exposed. So the more useful jumps to learn are just these, the things that can be done quickly. Don't bother climbing up from here to there, just go around. That way it's going to be much more safer. Unless for some reason they have people camping these doors, looking downstairs but not looking this way, because you see, if you see someone here, you're gonna shoot them. That's it. Okay, moving a bit further. This spot, you can climb on top of it. You can stab people that are going backwards, but you can also reach the top of that rock. It doesn't have that much use. It's just there. That's it. Kind of for you to climb. If you wanted to maybe to use it as a decloak spot or something, where it's a bit out of sight from people that are down here. But as you can see, it's not the easiest structure to climb because you kind of have to nudge yourself around. Admittedly, my strafing isn't that good at the moment, but yeah, I'll just cut to the successful thing. Yeah, here we go. Didn't take that long. But yeah, you can climb on top of these things. This is brushed off, so don't do that. I just forgot. Yeah, you can climb this way, you can climb here, but the problem is that it's so unnecessarily difficult. That way you can just go through here and get the same results if you're going to this side. If you're jumping the cart, then of course, different situation. Okay, this is a bit more of a spot for sniper. But let's see, if you're aiming here, you can move a bit more to the side. That way that spawn doesn't see you, and that spawn doesn't see you, or at least not that much. You're kind of hidden in the grass. Sure. That leaves your back quite exposed, but you know, you can always move back in, move out. You can climb here to jump left or right, wherever you prefer. Yeah, one spot that I forgot to mention, here you can jump on top of here. Sometimes NGs build their teleporters here and leave them deactivated, that way they're not that visible for an engineering later. Just keep a check on that spot, that's it. Okay, we move a bit further. This is going to be one of the most useful jumps on the map that are very easy to execute. You can jump this way around. You can also jump this way around back. So when people are holding these doors, or if you cannot go through here, dispenser, sentry, or whatever, just jump around. And especially if engineers are turtling, they're gonna keep the dispenser here and the sentry around there, and they're gonna keep an eye out on this spot. But very rarely do the engineers see you going around this way. The problem is if you fail the jump, and let's say I jump here and for some reason I bump my head or something, and let's say I fall down. The problem with this is that being in this spot or even that spot isn't particularly great. It's not the desirable spot, but yeah, it's doable. I'm also going to put a clip of me jumping from this spot to that spot. It's doable, but any beginners that are watching, don't bother learning this. To me, it took around 10 to 15 minutes of constant trying to just get this jump once. It doesn't lead to anything useful other than, you know, looking fancy in a frag montage just because it's a very difficult jump to do. That's it. Oh, yeah. Okay, it's definitely doable. I just did it. So yeah. Here, you can jump up there. Just watch your head, that way you don't hit it. Because if you hit your head, if you jump too soon, I think you're gonna get knocked down. Yeah, you probably are not going to get enough height. Let's see, like that. Yeah, you kind of get knocked down. So just delay your jump a bit. Another useful jump to cross from this side to this side. Very good, very comfortable. That way you can go from one side to the other. Sadly, you cannot go to the other side, but usually you probably don't want to. Or you might want to, but you know, in that case, if you want to go to the other side, just go from here to there, and then to down there. Or, yeah. Or you can just directly probably jump there, but I don't know any cases where I would want to jump this side to that side in the open, especially as a blue player. Because if I'm red, I probably can just come to this spot. If I'm red, I don't have a reason to jump down, I can just walk around. Okay, very quickly, this area, I am on top. You can climb on top of these things. It takes a bit of time to get used to. You can jump around this side, that way you don't have to go into the choke point in here. This is one of the jumps that I see people struggle with. You know, people think that you can just jump up there and then they get stuck. The thing is, this ground is far too high to jump on top of it. So just jump in this corner. You see this thing is a little bit lower. Just climb on top of it and you're good to go. Okay, this thing, very quickly, these rocks, you can jump on top of them before approaching the spawn. That way you can jump over people. But I think that is it with this map part for the most part. Of course, you can stand on top of the spawn, but just make sure to be undisguised, that way people don't see you. Around in this area, there is a pixel brush or pixel clip somewhere around there, but it's useless for every single class, so don't bother even looking it up. This thing, you can bait people in from this side, and then you can jump over their field of view. You're gonna get a stair step. Just keep in mind you shouldn't do that to pyros, and if you do that to explosive classes, keep yourself disguised. That way you don't get knocked around. Here, you can climb this side. It's not that difficult. You can just climb on top of the rock because it's a bit lower, and then you can walk on top easily. Not particularly much use, but if people are chasing you from that side, you can unexpectedly jump on top of them because, you know, you're going from here, you don't expect the person to jump around. Another thing is, I just like to use this as to cut a corner instead of going through here, which is not particularly beneficial because you're stuck in a tight space. Instead of going around here, which takes a little bit longer, when I turn the corner, I just go here and then you'd go down, you know, kind of just skip over the rock. Jumps from here, you can jump from here to the other side. I just messed up the jump a little bit. I don't think you need any kind of special jump for that. Yeah, just do it from the taller part of the car. It's a bit more useful. From the bonnet, I think it's a little bit more of a tight jump because, you know, starts rather low. But either way, these railings, use them. And now the biggest part of why I like Frontier are these sides on next to the walls. So when you're crossing the corner, this is something that you've probably seen me using as an example plenty of times. When you turn this corner, even if a person jumps, you can jump over them because this is tall enough. When you come around here, it doesn't take you any extra time to get on top of there. Maybe 0.2 of a second just to crouch jump on top of that. You know, if you hit it, crouch jump on top of that instead of just running straight. And it puts you in such a better position that it's never not worth to do. Okay, same goes around all of these white parts that you can see. You know, they're climbable. This I just showed. This you can also do that. This you can also do that. Just watch out for this. I will do our Dracula brushes too. This is brushed off, so if you're jumping at around this location, you have to jump around that. So that's why I don't use this wall that much. Okay, I'll turn them off again. When you are in here, this is a very useful jump to the other side, from one rock to the other rock on top of the wall. You can jump the cart from here, which is very comfortable. And you can just jump people from here, which is also very comfortable. From here, you have, once again, windows for escaping. If you go here and if someone's chasing you from a distance, you can either jump on top of them or you can just jump out to escape. You don't have to use the doorway all the time. Here, one of the spots that I never use, but I've seen it be used in frag montages. You can jump on top of that, which you either jump here and then jump over, which is something that I sometimes do. Because, you know, if you just turn the corner and you see that the person is turning here and they're not close enough, or if you just don't see anybody, jump on top of this and have another jump. That way people that were a bit further that you couldn't see at the beginning can just cross in and, or, you know, walk closer and then you can jump on top of them. Up to you. Then this is one of the most known spots, one of the most used spots. You go on top of here, you go on top of the snail, and then you just crouch jump on top. You are here. You can go to the spawn, you can go here, you can also use this to jump even further, to jump over people. Use this for whatever you want. This is something very usable. You can slide down. Usually if people are here, you can just have the extra height a little bit that you can keep from here instead of walking down. That way you end up on top of them. You can also do the jump with B-hops. You can also incorporate it with Dead Ringer speed boost. You know, if you have it like that, you're gonna go a bit taller and higher if you do the jump well. Up to you how you want to use that. Okay, I'll try to keep this as brief as possible. If we move further, this is a spot for engineers. If you're playing NG and you're on defense, just build a teleporter here, and if it's not destroyed by the time they cap that point, the third point, this is going to close up, that is going to close up, you're going to have a teleporter here. The reason you want to build it in a corner is that way you can build a sentry here, because building a sentry close up isn't great. Usually you want to have other players supporting you, that way you can hold the sentry, because if the sentry is here, it's rather simple to just spam you with the rockets by shooting the wall. But yeah, just be a bit more discreet until your team can help you out. Okay, about this space, I'm gonna have an example cut out, showing that if you camp the spot, you shouldn't be next to the wall, because there is a shadow that you can see through the other side. Around here, you can always climb to this direction. You can climb it backwards as well, just from this side. You can jump from here. That way you get some extra height if people are chasing you or whatever. From here, not really any use to jump down, but this jump is something that people sometimes struggle with. Just figure out the part of the stairs that is the most comfortable for you to jump from, because it's very lenient. You can jump from very low, you can also jump from quite high up. Because these stairs kind of, you know, when you jump here, you jump less high, but you're close enough to the target, and the other way around. You know, you start from higher, but you're further away, so practically anything works. Just crouch jump, that way you make it over, and you're good to go. When I go to this spot, this is a very small cut of the corner that is not going to help you in any way, but I just want you to know that it is here. The other thing is, you can stand on top of this. Not very useful, but still cool. Here, NGs can build teleporters. It's a very annoying sniper angle if you manage to keep yourself up here. Okay, move further. From this side is climbable. 1 second, just let me manage to get it. You have to climb on top of that pipe. There is a clip rush in a bit of a stupid manner, but yeah, you can climb up here, you walk all the way around here. You can also go to the other side without too many troubles. Just keep in mind not to hit your head on the ceiling, so yeah. This, once again, is quite a funny spot because just like these pipes, you can jump off of them to get kills. But the thing is, when you're peeking around here, you can actually see people coming through this side. You cannot shoot them through it, but you know, it's there, so you can try to align yourself with the area. If you see somebody flashing, you can come over, but you know, not very much use. I've never gotten an actual play with that, so purely theoretical. Around here, this side is climbable, very simple. This way, and then you go around here. Because you don't have to make this top, you just have to make this part, which makes the jump very much more easier. From this area, you just have to watch your head. So I would suggest, you know, jump from this side where it doesn't have this part, and just crouch jump. So you're gonna make it. There's another funny jump to this direction. You can stand on top of there, and you're kind of a bit more blocked from people that are walking in this direction. Let's say you're walking here, so you're not really seeing the red thing, and as you pass through here, this thing blocks it. So you know, you can do that, but usually if you wanted to camp them, you would just wait here and then jump over. Okay, this window, a bit of a funny spot. I will show you the examples of how you can jump off of it, because it's a little bit too tight for me to do it on first go. Sure, one of them is here, but you can also jump off of it, but because it has a very tight window for you to jump off and not hit your head, I will just show you the examples of it, how I've done them. So I don't think they're worth learning, but still they're there. Okay, around here we have this climb on top of a rock, on top of this rock, on top of that rock, whatever you want to do. Not a bad jump. Usually I use that halfway. I jump here and then I jump around. That way you can circle around with people not expecting you to come behind them so quickly. But, you know, depends on what you want to do. I think it's also doable the other way. Yeah, and from here it's easier to rotate. But, yeah. Another thing is, from this spot, I really like to climb up here and then jump there. Because even if when people are coming from here, you can either jump on top of them if they're not paying attention, if they don't see you, or you know, if they're turning around and everything. Or newer players tend to struggle with this jump, you know, because it's not doable with just space. You have to jump and crouch. So if they get stuck on here, you can just catch up to them through this side and get the backstab. Okay, now we go to this side. This is a very awesome climb, because I tell that there's always no reason to go through this part as a spy, especially from this direction. There's no reason for you to go here unless you need the HP very badly and you cannot spare the time, or you know, somebody's chasing you, then sure. But on a regular basis, I would suggest using this, because not only can you loop around people, when you come up here, people are going to see you through the window, jump away, and they might go closer to there to catch up with you, but you can go and loop behind them. Sure, it's situational, but I'm just thinking that going around this area is usually more beneficial than going just through the door. If somebody's chasing you from this direction, you usually have the railings, but I've seen people prefer these tires because they give your opponent less time to see you on top of their screen as they turn the corner. Well, whichever ones you prefer, you use them. This, very comfortable, good jump. There is also a pixel climb here that I showed in my previous project. You can climb on top of here. It's not that easy to get all the time, but you know, you can still get it. Okay, now we go and continue a bit further. From this side, usually, if there are people that are shooting you from this side, especially with the Deadringer, you can jump here, drop your Deadringer around this area, loop around their backs. You'd be surprised how many people don't see this side, or they just don't react to you crossing to their side from that way. Of course, it's doable both ways. You can go from here to, well, you can go from here to there. Usually I would say probably from here to there, but it's far less useful. Also, in this room, only the back of the room is walkable. I still have probably some spots to show you. When you cross through here, you can always just jump over. This is a jump. It only goes to this direction of the fence because everything else is brushed off and you're gonna fall down. Of course, there are jumps when you are a bit higher up to jump to that direction, you know, not to jump down there, but to jump down here, because nobody goes straight here. They all turn the corner, so you might just catch some people turning the corner. I'm not going to show you all the setups on how to jump down, but just keep in mind that when you go here, this part is sticking out the most, so if you want to make the jump the easiest, you just go towards the part that's sticking out the most. This area, just keep in mind that the fence is roughly the area where the walkable place ends, and you're good to go. So, you know, this, even if you strafe as bad as I just did just now, you're gonna still catch it. The things up here, many people know, many people use from the fence. You jump up here, you can jump the other way. Okay. So, now I'm going to show you some soldier spots. That way we have a quick rundown of that. Or soldier demo, any kind of spots the spy cannot reach. So, this is the spot where you can be up on top. Then once again, as I showed you, just another example of you being able to stand here. That way, it's not very useful, but still, it's there. Then around here, there are ways to stand on those pipes, but I find them to be very redundant, because usually you're going to be visible. But, you know, it's not particularly something useful, even if you want to spam the carts, usually because of fall damage. Oh, not fall damage, but damage fall off. You might want to just be closer up, and you're gonna be much better off. Okay, we continue a bit further. In here, I don't think there are any very interesting spots. As I've said, there is a brush on you for you to walk around, or rather to stand on, but it's not a very good one. Let's see, around this spawn, you can stand on top of those windows. So, you know, when you're launching yourself up, you can spawn camp here. Goes in a good synergy if there's a sentry built around there, and if people are trying to spam it out, you can shoot the people, or you just spawn camp, whichever you prefer. This rock is climbable, but I never showed it because it's not particularly useful. I mean, soldiers are a bit on the slower side, but yeah. Like, it doesn't have much use. You can stand here without any cloak, or rather without any disguise to get the jump on people, but kind of the same thing can be done around here, just around these barrels, that we jump on top of them. You can keep in mind when people are respawning anyway. Okay, around here, also, once again, that window that you can jump on. Less useful because you cannot camp to spawn directly, but still doable. Okay, I apologize. Around here, there is... come on. I'm sorry, my controller is a bit rusty. Here, walkable. This is absorbing a rocket, so you cannot shoot through the house, even if you can see it. But you can camp the door. Another spot around in this corner, you can stand here, you can camp people. A far less useful jump, but it's still there. There is a pixel walk. I'll show you the brush, give me a second. There's a brush that you can stand on, so yeah. This jump, everyone knows, well, practically everyone knows, because this building is kind of placed in a very funny way. You can just stand on top of it, yeah. Okay, and we come to an end almost. I'm going to show this jump stuff a bit better, but you can stand on top of here. As a soldier, this is not useful because I don't think you can jump from here to there. But as a demo, I will show you some lineups, how to camp spawn if you manage to jump up here. Okay, I absolutely forgot to redo sniper sightlines, that way you don't have to sit through me explaining them for 10 minutes. I'll just do a very quick speedrun. You have this angle, that way you cannot get shot through the left side. Just watch your back. You can move out, you can slide shot out. A very good, very decent sniper sightline. In here, this is very obvious, but you know, you don't necessarily have many far better options. When you go in here, you almost never want to cross from here because there are snipers there. There are sometimes snipers a bit more there. Snipers are here and on the left side of the card. So instead of going through here, I would very much recommend to cross this area and start sniping either from this side if your team has pushed out enough, either to be on this side to just get some picks on the snipers that are on this side. And if there are no snipers on that side, then you just come up here and you have this entire area for yourself. Sure, this is a very aggressive sniper playstyle, but I think that just peeking out stupid from the left or right side is very not great when the enemy has good snipers. From this, you can also just do a drop shot. I'm not a fan of doing this and dropping out in the middle of nowhere, but it's up to you. One of the angles that I wanted to show really much was here. You can see people that are in that sniper location, and you can go left and right a little bit. You can even use this thing. You see, you can see this area quite well. The same way, when you're standing here, you can aim at the health pack. So sometimes your team, that you don't get a lot of action in this area, you can just aim here and get some stuff. But, you know, also climbing on top of the rocks works for sniper as well. When you're up here, you can aim down there if the NG is friendly enough to build you a teleporter, but no promises because many NGs don't bother doing that. Okay, from here, a very good spot. You can shoot here. You can move back in. That way snipers that are sitting at the spawn cannot shoot you. In a similar manner, coming out here and shooting through here is a very obvious thing, but you can see how my dot disappears at a certain point. You can shoot through here. I will put examples how I'm shooting the engineer through the gap. This gap works both ways, except from this side you kind of have to remember where it is, because the dot doesn't disappear. It only starts disappearing at a certain distance when you're aiming at it properly, that is. You know, I kind of have to come close enough to see the dot disappear. But yeah, it's shootable both ways. Okay, I think that's about it. I'll just show you an example and see you soon in the next map. Okay, so this is once again, because of how collision works in this map, just like in this spot, where you just get pushed off no matter what you do. Let me just land on top of it. Yeah, you just get pushed off. So it's the same on top of this thing, but you can use it to boost yourself forward. You probably have seen people do that already because it's quite an easily accessible spot. But as you're gonna see, I'm not jumping off of it or anything. You just crouch jump over it and you keep crouched, and yeah, you see, you just get boosted quite a bit forward because of how collision works here. The other side's up to you. Okay, now this small passageway, I find it quite fun for spy because you can climb on top of these things and you can be above people. Sure, you have to keep in mind there's a clip crush. The same goes through this side. I practically never go down here because my go-to is to go through this side and then here on the planks and then on the stairs. That way, if there is an enemy at any given point, I am above them, and I am above them for the most part. The only way I'm not above them is if they appear here. Okay, so in short, all of the brushes that you can see here are climbable, but they are rather difficult to climb and they are rather useless to learn unless you're playing like Pyro or something. Because all of these brushes, technically you could use them as a bridge to go all the way to there, but in reality it's very difficult and very useless. Because if you wanted to just jump on top of the first two, which is fine, you wouldn't get much further than you would just from jumping from there. And from this one, you wouldn't get that much benefit from that either, because you could only just jump over people here for being exposed for quite a while here, because I bet that most of you won't be doing this first try, and neither am I, because these brushes have... If this was only one brush at the bottom, then I fully understand that. But since you have to jump around these pillars of brushes as well, when you cannot see them without this command, it's quite difficult. So I would just say keep in mind that these exist. For example, this one you can jump from there if the engineer built a teleporter, that way you can wait for people maybe pushing out from here. But other than that, don't bother learning them unless you're playing Pyro with the detonator or other classes that might use that. Because for example with Pyro and the detonator, if you're using Flog, you could probably Flog cancel off of these. But yeah, that's about it. I just wanted you to know that they exist, but they're very much not worth to learn. Okay, I will be doing a very quick run through of Swiftwater. Once again, I've done one before, but I would like to keep this one as brief as possible. At times, I will cut to clips of me doing certain things because for some explanations, I will need 2 people. But other than that, okay, let's begin with this side. These barrels lead to trick snaps quite often because, well, you get a high ground and people tend to go towards these health packs, so you can either jump from this side or from the other side, up to you. Then we go towards this direction. You should probably not go through here as a spy because the other side provides so many more options to go from one place to another. Either this plank, you can also use this to climb around. You can also use this window if you are on red, because you cannot open these doors. And especially if you are coming here to spawn camp a bit later, if nobody is opening you the doors, you can just run through here. Well, of course, you could always just jump to the other side or to the plank and go there, but just keep in mind that that is an option. This, you can climb around. Very useful, very... Well, it's usually very easy. From here up to that side, not a problem. Also, these planks, or rather fences, you can climb around to this side. That way you don't have to go all the way around. Plus, it puts you in a location where people are usually not protecting you. Or rather, not protecting it. It also makes a scout disguise a little bit more believable. Similar thing with this. Okay. Now, let's go through this building very quickly. All the jumps, usually, you know, this is one of the most desired positions to go to because of the snipers. So there is one walk around from this direction. You can climb to the snipers, especially if you drop your ringer at around here. They might come out and check where you are, and you can keep their track through these windows. Also, this roof walkable, this is walkable, so in case the cart is at around that area, there's no reason for you to actually just drop down and walk to it. Just use the high ground, get on top of it, and then jump on top of it. Okay, another jump from here is here. You can quite easily walk towards this area, especially if there are snipers. Sometimes there are pyros here. If you do this well, you're either not going to be seen or you can just dodge many things. At the same time, this is a great place to get a quick snipe or two at the very beginning of the round, because this is doable as a sniper as well. You can be at around here, you can relocate to see the cart, you know, just an angle for sniper. Now, one more that I'm probably just going to show in post if I don't make it now. It's not a very difficult jump. Yeah, it's not a difficult jump. You just get on top of this fence, and once again, you can jump the other way. Okay, this is a very quick climb with not really many reasons to climb there, other than maybe, you know, somebody's going to be going from the big health pack. You can climb here as a heavy, or, you know, whatever class you prefer. These windows, you can climb into them to either hide as an invisibility watch spy, or, I don't know, maybe a scout for some reason. I've seen scouts do this jump, but I really don't know why would you do that. About smaller props, these props are always great, these boxes to cross, that way you don't get shot down. A little bit less from this side, but it's also doing the job. Okay, a very quick check. Oh, of course, there are ways to climb out of here. One of them is through here, which I find way easier. Once again, just have your velocity when going into it. That way you slide a little bit up. Another one, which is a little bit less known, is around here. There is a pixel climb. It's a relatively difficult jump if you don't know what to look for, but you kind of have to practice it for yourself to see where the pixel is. As you see with my inputs, I am just climbing on top of it as I would climb on top of any prop. It's just to do the second jump, you cannot really move around much. Okay. Now, let's start from this side and move towards there. So, this is a jump that you can do as pyro with, I think, even scorch shot you might be able to climb up here. Or as a demo, we used to camp here with blue cannon with my friends. It's quite a funny spot. Also, when going to this health pack, you always want to jump on top of it instead of brushing next to it, because you can jump stab people from it. This is, I don't think I need to mention that too much. Now we go into here. On both sides of this doorway, you have ways to jump on top of the cart. You can also use these to jump a bit more to to decide if people are going to this area behind you or whatever, but just these areas are mostly for trick stabbing people on the cart. Okay, there is an obvious way to climb up here with the stairs and everything, but there's also a very easy way to just climb up here. Because of how this rock has the collision, you can just go from left to right and you're not gonna have a problem. Just make sure to keep brushed against the wall. You know, you can do that with A, you just kind of have to find the angle, because if you just press W and you don't go well, you might slide to the side. So, you know, you're gonna get a feeling for it rather quickly. This is also a jump, very useful if you see somebody going here, or if somebody sees you going after them, that way you don't have to follow them through a door, or through a door, you can just go around this area. Okay, all of these things also get on top of them for trick stabbing. This is a jump to do. It's also doable in the other direction. You don't have to do it as slow as I did. You can also just jump from the ground. It's quite a useful jump. At the same time, right here, you can do the circle. It's doable both ways because there is the roof. If you really need to escape from here, though, you can jump from here into this window. If you don't miss it, it's usually not that difficult to climb. You just need to make sure not to hit your head on that, because if you hit your head on that, you don't have enough distance to brush yourself against the window. Okay, now about a little bit less useful jumps, or rather quite useless jumps that are still funny. You can climb on top of here, you can climb on top of here. From here, I will show you that you can jump on there and on there, but it's a very tight jump, so don't bother learning it, because if you're already here, you might as well just walk around. It's going to, you know, give you much more protection because this is very much in the open. If you want to climb on top of these fences, however, some of them have just, you see that small part of wood, some of that has a different kind of collision, so you can just climb on top. At the same time, you see this small part, you can climb it instead of that. That's where I aim when I jump here, because if you try to jump on top of the bigger plank, it's a bit more difficult of a jump. Then, of course, this is climbable for other classes, as are these windows. You can climb on top of them. The same thing is inside, but I wouldn't recommend doing that as any class because it has no purpose. This is another spot for spy. You can use it just to escape from enemies. Let's say you turn a corner and, you know, you manage to jump on there. Just make sure not to hit your head once again. Just crouch and turn into it. This also a funny spot. For some reason, not many people know it, but it's quite an obvious plank. You can either jump stab people behind you, but it's a very obvious spot, so don't go for it. You know, maybe just as a last resort if you see that you're not gonna have enough HP to jump down and try to understab people, but I have no idea when that would be the case. I would say maybe for invisibility or spies, if you cloak this way and there's somebody going after you, that way you just jump on top of here. Okay, quite a few more obvious jumps from here on top of these things, on top of this white thing. You can climb on most of it. Let me give you some brushes. Okay, so with the brushes, you can see how far you can climb. You cannot climb on top of the fences, but all of these white things are climbable. Sadly, from this side, you cannot go up here. This doesn't really help you with anything, other than maybe wait for people to go down there, but you're also just as visible. So, yeah, use those. Usually as a spy, you get on that from here. If you want to cross, though, use these places, because, well, it's very comfortable. You can also stand here, but I wouldn't recommend. That way, you know, when you cross here, you can either see if somebody is passing through there, you're already going to see them, so you can get a jump on them earlier. Okay, let me turn that off. Of course, there is a car that you can use to traverse that. You can also do that. But the more nicer jumps that you can use every game are these ones. You jump from one of these corners to the other one of these corners, and you jump over here. That way you don't have to jump into the line of fire if your cart is here and they're defending it. That way you can get to the health packs faster. Okay, I'm just checking for a second if I have missed anything, but I really don't think so. If I have, I'll just edit it in post. In here, these are jumps. I would say that one of my favorite finds in this map, other than the so-called exploits that I have to show you in the future, are climbs like this. You know, you can just come from here to there. I will show you in the post if I am feeling right now. But yeah, you climb on top of here, and when you climb this, just be careful because you're practically walking on top of this area. So when you approach here, you're gonna see that if I walk directly straight, there's going to be a thing to bump yourself. But if you go on properly, you can avoid those planks, and then you climb on top of here. Then you climb on top of this little ledge, and then you climb up all the way here. It's quite a useful jump if people are camping this area. Let's say people are holding these doors, and if you have the invisibility watch. Otherwise, you might be a little bit too obvious. From here, of course, we have this jump. Just aim on top of this plank and make sure to press W to make to go up all the way. From this side as well, you can do that. From here, you can climb on top of this roof, on top of that roof, on top, you know, all of these roofs are climbable. Also, there is a long jump, but it's a... I wouldn't say it's a very difficult one. It's just something that I don't practice often. So I'll show you the jump now. Okay, after that jump, there are also a few other things to show. You can climb on from top of there, on top of here, and then wait on top of this roof. If you're waiting here though, sometimes you may want to be disguised, sometimes you may want to be undisguised, depending on how far people are pushing out. That way they don't see you with spawning wall hacks, because you are quite visible if you stand there, and they're not gonna think you that you're further away. Okay, I will move on a little bit further. From this area, you can jump on top of here as other classes than spy. Well, ones that have more mobility, I apologize. Right here. There's like a corner where you can fit in. Okay, some small other areas here. I've gotten some trick stabs from here, especially if you jump, you know, you can jump from here on top of there, on top of other people. But I only use that if my dead ringer or my cloak is on cooldown. That way I keep moving instead of standing around on the same level. Or rather on the same height level, yeah. Okay, another spot. Once again, the other side of this thing can be very easily climbed by classes that have mobility, not by spy. Okay, from this side, once again, you have those sides that you can use to keep your height, above the enemy players for longer instead of just walking around here. Because if you walk around here, you see somebody around the corner, you can't really stab them. But if you jump from this side and you jump over them, you can still stab them. You can continue the jump by going on top of here, because this small ledge has, you know, you can climb on top of it. So if you see that there's nobody to stab, you can surf back into that, or strafe back into that side. And then you can jump over people, but it's glitching out for me for some reason now. Okay. Yeah, just know that it's there. Around this area, if you want to approach that from the other side, you can climb on top of here, and you can also go there. Or if you want to camp a little bit more, you can wait around this corner. When people go to check around this corner, you might just get them. Okay, usually I would just go on top of that box to go here, because, well, you can technically jump on top of here if you are jumping from the higher part, but I find that jumping from the top of the box doesn't really take much more time. So, you know, find whatever works for you. Of course, now let's move from this side a little bit more. That way I can show you this side into that side, because I have something interesting to show here. I'm not going to show every jump that there is. For example, this one, it's a very useful jump, but it's quite difficult to do because of these leaves. You cannot see them. Once again, you're jumping on top of this small thing instead of on top of that, but it doesn't really matter because you have to align yourself to jump from the top part of the rock onto that thing. It's far easier with the Deadringer speed boost, and I would say it's quite a useful thing to do with the Deadringer speed boost if you want to play very aggressively, because when you decloak here, they're not going to see you all the time because of these things as well. So that's one time where you can easily play aggressively. Around these things, you can jump through the window. Once again, if you missed the jump, as I did, you're still gonna catch yourself on top of this thing. Usually you can just strafe straight into the window without any problems. Just like that. Now, from this side, one of these windows are closed. The other one, you can go through if you want to. The same thing goes from the other side. If you want to go from here, you can go through here and you can fit through the window. It's a little bit difficult to do sometimes, especially when people are shooting you from here, but the jump is there. A jump that is not as useful, but is a little bit funny, maybe for some box trot or something, you can climb on top of here. Doesn't give you a lot of an advantage, but it's still there. Okay, I will then show you a glitch or exploit or whatever you want to call it with these doors. You need 2 players, one of them needs to be on the enemy side. I will quickly show you the perspective on the person that has to be on the setting up part of this exploit. Yeah, I have the detonator, all good. So usually this works best with demo or soldier with the sticky jumper or the rocket jumper, but it works with any class really. So you just move very slightly forward until you get stuck inside of the door. I will show you the show position. If you can see, my velocity now is 0 because I'm not moving. But if I shoot myself, I am starting to build velocity up, and it stacks. So the thing is, when you have so much velocity and somebody jumps on top of you, sometimes they get that velocity transferred to them. In a similar manner that when you jump on top of a soldier that is jumping directly up, sometimes you may just jump on top of him and he's going to go down. It's called Goomba stomping. I'll show you the way that it looks from the person's perspective on the top of the guy, or rather on the person's that jumping on top of the other person perspective. But basically you can launch yourself practically anywhere in this area. So I'll show you some useful spots that are great for that. One of them is around here. You can use that with mobile classes either way, but it's a wall that's, well, not attached properly. Other spots, maybe as a spy you can go up here, but primarily that thing is used for surf stabs. Yeah, just know it exists. It's not something to farm for, or rather, it's not something to wait to happen, because you need a friend and you both need to be on the enemy teams, but if that scenario happens, it's something that both of you can do. Okay, now we have this. You can climb on top of that. You can also do the jump from the ground up. You just crouch jump up, not a problem. Now, all of these yellow things, once again, you can use for trick stabbing the same way as you would in Borneo. There is this jump, which is a little bit tight. It's not necessarily something that's very difficult to do. You just need to do a very tight strafe at the very end. Usually I just press W at the very end and I do a 90-degree turn, or you know, you press a strafe key to that direction. It should work both ways. Another spot, just make sure to be undisguised in here. You can ask people to bait someone for you, or you can just wait for people around in this area. If you taunt, usually with a high five or something, you can see them approaching. You see the gap at the bottom, you see them approaching, and then you cancel the taunt, you jump on top of them. The reason you want to stay undisguised, once again, because usually when you'll do this, they are gonna go out of here, and they're going to see you. If you're standing here, quite obviously, they're gonna turn around and shoot you. Okay, on this side, you can go around these walls. I would say that this is a very useful jump, just a good habit to get into. Doesn't take extra time to get on, and if somebody sees you, you either jump over them, or you have an easier time surfing projectiles away if you are learning to surf escape. Around here, jumps may be only used to disorient people. Also, these doors technically have the same glitch as those doors, but since these doors are closing sideways, sometimes it's very difficult to get yourself stuck in here. It's theoretically possible, and it might not be such a bad place because you are blocked from many players from that direction, but it's quite difficult to do. So that's why most people stick to those doors. Okay. We go inside of here. One very useless jump, but a funny one. You can jump on top of here. Not really anything you do. Also, a good thing about map knowledge in here is that these windows are see-through only one way. So if you're waiting for someone here and you see them and you think that they saw you, they didn't, because they cannot see you from the other side. Also, some jumps a little bit more for beginners. Don't feel scared jumping over this gap, because you can very easily. If you're scared to jump over there, you know, if you sometimes are not comfortable with the way jump works in this game, you can also just go straight here and land on top of these pipes. Then you can just walk practically straight across this gap. Yeah, just a small amount of knowledge. Also, these places, these small corners, or rather not corners, these circles, you can stand in them and you can shoot through them. So, Scout, Force of Nature, anything. The problem is you're visible from everywhere, but sometimes it may be a funny spot. Also, this side, walkable. Useful? Absolutely not. From here, this side is walkable. This side is walkable. Sadly, you cannot climb on top of that window because it's a little bit too tall, but hey. Here, you can climb. Now, one of the few gems that I found by myself, and I really liked how they... I found them very funny, was a jump from here to there. You know, from here, you jump to this side. The problem is, when you're standing it around here, you're standing on nothing. Because the brush is made to just make the corner feel much more smooth, you can stand on top of here, and you can go quite to the side before you fall down. Okay. Also, you can climb on top of here and on top of there if you do that jump. Otherwise, you can't really climb on top of there. Unless you maybe climb here and then there. But I think it's a bit more tighter jump because... Oh no, I'm not sure if you can do that because you need to jump on from the top of the higher one without hitting your head. So, yeah. Okay, now this is one of the last spots, or maybe the last spot. You can climb around and, you know, many people camp this spawn. So if you want to camp the spawn, you can, of course, wait around here. But also there are some spots such as this, where you can just stand on top of the exit. So maybe you know that somebody is going to be approaching your spawn, or maybe there is a spy that likes to go here and camp. You can just wait around here to get the backstab. Usually the enemy spy is not your concern, but hey, I'm just giving you the spots, you decide what to do with them. Also, if you want to get on top of this small wall, aim not on top of the pillars, but on the wall itself, because it's a little bit lower. If you crouch jump, you can climb on top of it. Okay, so many people's favorite map, Upward. Let me just give you a very quick speedrun of all the spots that may or may not be helpful. We'll show you some examples that are a bit more difficult to require two players in the background, and just hear me out about the map. That's it. My favorite spot at the beginning of the round is here. You just need to strafe a little bit around, because when you crouch, you're not that visible. Many people just pass through here if you don't fidget around, you know, if you're not moving like that. If you don't give people a reason to look up, they're probably not going to look up. Sure, some snipers may look here if your team is hanging around here, but it's a very rare thing. Mostly, it's successful because when you're crouched, you are in the dark area, and people can still see the entirety of the rock, as in your legs are not blocking anything, so it doesn't seem unusual. When you're here, which is another spot, you are standing on top of the rock, and many more people tend to look here unless you're being with invisibility watch, because your legs are blocking a little bit of the rock. Let me show that. You see what I mean? They're blocking a little bit, so the rock isn't as smooth. It's the rock, and then you see the color change, and while you're in here, you don't particularly see the color change because you're standing on top of here. Also, if you're crouched, you're practically all in the shadow. These rocks, of course, you can use that for maneuverability, but doesn't work all that well all the time. Around here, it's jumpable, mostly as an escape path for invisibility watches. You can climb all this ledge, and I don't think you can climb the further one. And even if you can, I really don't find any use for that. Yeah. Around here, these are not climbable because they're brushed off. You have this one, where you can move around from here to there. You just get corners. You catch people off guard, especially because snipers that are up here, they tend to check their backs every now and then. But if you see that the sniper just checked their back, you're just gonna come up here and probably gonna get the stab, because usually what people tend to do is they tend to look around themselves when they think that people can get to them. So let's say for usual players, it would be, if you see somebody climbing towards them, they would want to check it. If they see anyone hanging around here, probably not too much. So if they turn around and see that that nobody's here, they're gonna wait a little bit before turning around. But if they see that it's empty as well, and you get to their back, they might not even turn around for that, because it's just quick enough. Okay, these things, jump around, not a problem. Okay, this rock, I tend to climb on top of it if I know that people are passing through here. Let's see, I see someone coming from the spawn. I jump around to this spot, and then I jump here. Because if people are passing this corner, no matter where they're going, as you see on the left side, that rock is not particularly very visible once you pass a certain point. So if you manage to time it properly, they're not going to see you. A similar idea around the same rock is these things, or are these things. You can jump around them if people see you coming to the right side. They either peek you here to cut you off, or if they follow you, you can get behind their back. Okay, the obvious spot around here, you can jump around back and forth. It's very useful if you want to get to their NGs from the third angle, because now you can just walk forward, you can go all the way around, or you can jump through here. And of course, you know, you can jump through here as well, so their NGs are having a bit more of a difficult time. This jump, of course, I prefer using it because if I wanted to come out here and jump on top of the rock, I would always be in the most common sniper sight line, and I would be moving in a predictable way. But if I come up here, and yeah, I come up here, I'm not necessarily in the sight line anymore, and even when I am in the sight line, my height changes, which means I'm not constantly falling. I'm going up, down, and then up again. From that on top of these rocks. So, just my preference, you can use it the regular way, especially if there are no snipers. Okay, I will show you this jump that is doable from here, from this ledge to that. If you activate your dead ringer, you can jump from here to there, but I'm not going to cover dead ringer jumps too much. It's a bit of a tighter one, as in you can't just very easily jump on top of there, but it's not a problem either. You see, kind of you have a little bit of a risk to bump your legs, or bump your feet. Okay, all of those ledges, walkable. You can mimic Scout's double jumps when you're with a Scout's disguise around here, especially because this blocks the sight a bit. So if you just jump around here, you can kind of make your Scout's disguise a little bit more believable to people that are seeing you from here. Other than that, I would say I just use that at any time when people are passing through here, and I just have to avoid them. Okay, this is a sniper sightline. When you sit here in a shadow, you can shoot people, and if you're disguised, or if you're disguised as a sniper, no. If you're not moving around too much, and if you don't have a, how's it called, an unusual, something that's a bit bright, then you're gonna be hidden in the shadow. I'll show you an example that is very easy to just miss you. Okay, this rock not particularly useful, but can be used to get on top of sentries if necessary, because that's where sentries are built most of the time. At around here, you should know that this is climbable. It's not a difficult climb. Also, this is walkable to the other direction, but it's far less useful. And it's not that easy because you can hit your head on that. It's far easier to decide because you have a thing to climb on top of. Oh, of course, nearly missed that. These things, you can climb on top of them with other classes, sadly not with spy. At around here, maybe if you want to spam snipers, but I have no idea what you would want to do with that. Okay, around here, let's just get the inside out of the way. When the door is open, you're going to get stuck. When that door is open, you cannot pass through here because the door's collision moves up instead of disappearing. So keep that in mind. If somebody's chasing you, it's not a very good idea to come in here if you hear the door opening. Other thing, many people stand around here as well just to camp, but make sure to be undisguised. Not personally a fan of that idea. Around here, this thing is climbable. You can just jump further a bit if you want to, but once again, not necessarily a fan of that. If you hear people around this corner and you're coming from here, you can jump over these things. You know, but that's mostly used if people are really protecting that area. You know, if people... Well, I wouldn't know who's protecting that area, but you know, if somebody is around here and they're aggressively flaming, or, you know, the pyros that always hold mouse one. But even then, you can come from the left and from the right side, so I wouldn't say that's worth doing anything, because you can just jump over them. Okay, up around here, this rock is quite great for snipers, because if you climb on top of it, you can see all the people that are in there quite well, and the people that are down here, you're still gonna see their heads quite more often than not. Then around here, of course, this is climbable, sadly not for spy. At least I haven't figured out a way to do that yet. Maybe there are some pixel climbs, but I don't think they're necessarily worth it. Yeah. Now we go in here. This is climbable for spy, but it's very difficult and very useless, so I'm not going to bother showing it too much. All you have to do is you have to climb on top of these planks, and then you have to wiggle your way in. But since that spot is very useless, I don't know why you would want to learn that. Around here, these things are walkable, so... Okay, I'm walkable and I absolutely missed it. These things are walkable, you can climb back up from them, so that's not bad for juking. You might see people baiting people off and then jumping back to them. Up to your creativity, I would just say, just keep in mind that that ledge exists. Around here, this rock is climbable. I wouldn't say it's too good for anything other than just jumping around, because, well, you can jump towards the choke. And when you're disguised as a scout, once again, it's a little bit more believable when you're high up. It's also jumpable to the other side. Not that difficult. So, yeah, keep that in mind. When you're passing through here, you always want to jump through this gap. I rarely know any reason, or I have no idea about the reason why to go around this side. But, especially if you see people going down here and you can just try to predict when they're going there. I kind of have the timing down, but when people are going down here, you can just jump behind their back. Because they will go here very often. They check behind themselves. That way they approach this doorway safely. And even if they check behind themselves, if they don't check behind themselves, you're gonna get them. That's it. Okay, let's move a little bit more to this side. We have these things. They're climbable. They're climbable both ways. And you don't necessarily have to climb on top of those ledges. I would just say that sometimes it might help with your strafing, especially if you're coming out at a stupid angle. Around here, it's not that hard to just jump inside there as well. You know, you can just jump around this way, but when you're coming from this side, I would say just use these ledges, because it's easier to strafe it out. Okay, one of the important things, this passageway, or rather this kind of small climb, It's very easy, very useful, especially if you're disguised as a scout, once again, because you're jumping around stupid spots. It's not very good when there are plenty of people here and they're watching you, because this is not believable, even if we're disguised, that you're just somebody's going that way. No, I wouldn't say so. So, yeah, it's here. It's good for cutting people off. It's good for catching people when they're going to the health pack. That we don't have to follow them all the way blindly. But, yeah. When you take this corner, you can jump from these boxes, or rather jump on top of these boxes. If you see people here, you just walk on top of them. If you don't see people here, you jump off. Maybe you're gonna jump over someone in here, in a rare off chance that somebody is here. The reason you want to do that is because once you're past, if you were to just go down here and encounter an enemy, unless it's a soldier or a demo and you have enough health to surf the damage, you're probably not gonna be in a good spot. Sure, there is a little bit of maneuverability to try to matador people, but if a person just stands here and doesn't move their mouse too much and just shoots you, you're dead. So it's a bit better to put yourself in a position where you're above a person. Yeah. Okay, with these boxes, you have a way to climb this structure from this way as well. Come on, it's not that hard. Okay, 1 second. Yeah, no. Yeah, like that. I apologize for my failures. I just woke up and I wanted to re-record the segment because the last one was dragging on for way too long. Okay, so about this jump, another jump that not everyone knows is around here. What it's useful for is either to jump back, if you want to jump back like that, or it's useful to jump over people to get a little bit more distance, because, you know, when you jump up like that, you make it to this rock. If you were to jump up normally, you would kind of not jump over quite a big part of that. If you're struggling with this, you can jump up here, and then, you know, if you're struggling with the slanted surface, you can jump up and then you are on top of the triangle here. It's a little bit wonky, but it's a bit easier to align yourself for a jump if you're struggling. Also, it's easier to jump to the other side from this part rather than that. Okay, this a very stupid spot. You can go in here, but you know, you're putting yourself on a corner. You're putting yourself to be a very easy target. There is this spot, mostly used for other classes than spy. Usually you can spam people out with damage, or you can camp that corner of the doorway. But I've used this as a spy as well. If you see somebody spamming this doorway, you can come up close and undisguise and jump up, and you know, you can surf it up there. So yeah, I'll try to move on further. I don't think I forgot many things here. At around here, you can jump from this side to that side. Around there, you can also jump from that thing here. It's also doable. This one is also doable both ways, except, you know, watch your head on that thing, so just strafe a little bit around. This is great. If you jump off, you can jump on top of it. That way you don't get any fall damage, because if you were to just jump off regularly, you're gonna get fall damage. You know, that's the same kind of thing with there. If you jump off of the top of the triangle, I just use it to activate my dead ringer, because if you jump off top of there, you don't get fall damage. Okay, at around here, you can stab people through this corner. Usually just shove yourself against the stairs. I cannot move any further, and just look at the top of that corner. When people pass, you just stab them. Okay, this area doesn't have anything of interest to me. Around here, of course, there are the very usual jumps as this one. You can just jump over to this side, you can jump over to the other side. It's not very difficult, it's just a very simple crouch jump, but you know, it's still there. When you go to this direction, there is this jump. That way you don't have to go through this area, which is rather dangerous, because if people just block the door, you don't have an escape route. Also, I didn't mention it last time, but here you sometimes do stuff with box trot and everything. I think it's a bit of a goofy spot. I've never used it myself, but you know, it's still there. Do with that what you will. Around here, a great spot to cross the gap. Once again, from this side, it's not very doable, but from these railings, it's very easily doable. That way we don't have to walk down there and walk up the stairs. I also use this to climb up on top, because people that come out of this spawn, people that come out of that spawn sometimes get caught off guard if a spy appears right above them. You know, not everyone manages to react. That's all I'm saying. Up around here, all of these windows are jump stabbable. You can jump stab people from them. Yeah, I don't necessarily think there's too much. This one, you can jump over from here to do a jump stab. Technically, this window is also doable, but I don't think it's worth learning that, because if you have this on one side, and if you're being chased from the other side, you have this, or even the stairs here. You know, the stairs are a bit more obvious, but still. You have better options that are a bit more reliable than a window that you need to climb into and then jump off at a certain angle not to get hit. Around here, of course, you can climb up here, but I don't find it to be very useful. Works the other way around as well. These boxes, very many people jump from top of here on top of those boxes. That way you don't get fall damage, and then you... Oh, if you strafe it properly, you don't get fall damage. You know, you go here and you don't get fall damage, but I would just say, yeah, don't bother to fall damage, honestly. And yeah, these boxes obviously are climbable just from here. Up around here, this railing, quite good for spy, because if people are coming through this direction, you can jump stab them, and very rarely do they expect that. Just be careful not to go a bit too wide, because you're gonna hit your head on those things. Yeah. When you come down here, just the stairs they're very obvious, but what I see works best is if you wait around here, don't wait at the top of the stairs, because that's very obvious. You know, if you come out here and you see a spy standing there, very obvious. But if you go around this corner and you jump like that, you tend to get quite a few stabs, because people don't have that much time to react and they're already pressing forward. So when a spy pops up here, even if they start pressing backwards, you're usually already on top of them and you can get away with a stab. Once again, these windows jump stabbable. You can jump stab from this window, you can jump stab from this window. These windows are also jumpable from one to another. I don't particularly have much use for that, other than to juke people with the Deadringer speed boost. It's even easier, but yeah. Now, this spawn is something that I see very many people being shy to approach as a spy, but I would say it's quite a comfortable area to trick stab people around. Now, sure, we have the obvious spots as these stairs, and everyone's going to expect you here, but a small tip for those stairs, just walk on top of people instead of jumping on. That way they have less time to dodge you, and you're gonna be good. So the way to approach this from the left side, you have this railing, jump on top of that railing. You can sometimes get away with stabs from top of these railings on top of people there, but I do that less often. Now, about these things, you can jump stab from here. It's a little bit more difficult, but you know, you can jump over people. The problem with this is that usually when people come out here, they're gonna go either left or right. From this window, it's not that easy to jump on properly, and especially because you have to be undisguised and everything, any people that are around there are going to see you. There is a better spot above here for this window, because you can stay undisguised here and you can jump over on top of people. If you feel a little less sure about your trick stabbing capabilities and you want to have simpler stuff, you stand here undisguised, and people that go either there or there, you know, depending on which point you're pushing, you can get away with a stab. Also, as I've shown, these things jumpable both ways, way more reasonable than going inside of here where people are very difficult to stab if they don't move their mouse too much. Okay, we have the fire extinguisher, which can make people lose you if you're being with the invisibility watch. You know, you cloak and then you jump here and maybe they're not going to get you, especially if you jump to avoid splash damage. But yeah, I think that is about it. From this area, you know, it's obvious how to approach this from this side. Just make sure to, when you see people coming through here, walk on top of them instead of jumping. And don't wait, obviously, at the top of stairs, you know, because when people come through here, they're going to see you. I would say just move around, and sometimes people will just get disoriented. Maybe you can get the stab, but I think that is it. Okay, let's do a very quick rundown of why I think that Venice is horrible in terms of collision. Most of the maps follow the whole idea of rotating the map in a way that it matches your collision hole. Let's see all of those walls that you walk by, you brush by with the side of your collision hole. But in Venice, very many locations are rotated just a bit that way you brush against everything into walls. First of all, that is very bad because when you brush into walls with corners, it messes with the map's collision overall because that's how wall bugs happen. You know, you can just brush into the wall in a way that you just hang on it. And the fact that you can do it practically anywhere on this map is already a very bad look for the map. Other than that, it makes all the collisions feel very, very weird. Let's say in first person, usually when you go left and right, you see how close I can get to places, or at least how close it feels that I'm getting to those places because I'm brushing with the shorter side of my collision hull, which is the side. When I'm going to places such as this, I'm brushing it against the wall with a corner, and it would feel as if I could come a bit closer. Also, you know, when I'm walking with the strafe key, I sometimes get stuck, but that's something that you should have gotten from all the wall bugging part. For example, in here, I would think that I can pass through this doorway, even though there is an enemy to my side. But because of the way that collision holes are, I would 100% bump the player that's walking through here, even if they're walking right across the other side. So it's very bad because it messes with the perception of how far things are and how far you can move around. That messes with your dodging, that messes with your matador timings, or if you do manage matadors. Anything that goes against the way that the game normally feels, I would say is not a very good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad map, I still have a lot of fun in it with Sniper, but for Spy it's not great. Now, if you still want to play this map, I found a couple of spots. Let's say these doors, you can just brush against them and you will go up, which means you can go up on top of the enemy with practically no effort, and they don't really have a way to react to that. You know, just go and press your strafe key into the wall as you pass it. Now, those who are listening are probably going to understand that I'm going to complain about this and how it feels when it's rotated, because when you go into these things, when they're rotated, you kind of have to bump them with your face, because you have to get up on there with the corner instead of the side, which means that it feels very different. Even though it's the same prop, it just feels very different. I would say that when the collision holes are rotated properly, I'll try to show it in third person, all you have to do is you pass through it and then you press into the prop and you're gonna go up. That's it. That's how easy it is. But in the places that it's rotated, you have to manage to not bump in too early, because that will make you just bump the corner. Or if you bump too late, you're just going to slide off. So you kind of have to go forward with your face a little bit more, because when you're looking forward, you're going to be seeing exactly where the corner is. That way it's a bit easier to manage where it is, while still being not very comfortable. Okay, now in terms of spots around this map, I would say that it kind of is not a very good one, or rather not a good map in terms of any spots, because those pixel walks and everything you can have, first of all, they can just be replaced by wall bugging by any other class. And with classes that cannot move around, they're very uncomfortable to walk through, because you see at certain angles I just get stuck even on the pixel walk, because the corner of my collision hole is walking into the wall. Now, even if you wanted to learn all those pixel spots, because they're not that difficult to do, they are kind of useless. Because the same thing you can see from here, you can do from up here. As a sniper specifically. Other classes don't really have a reason to go on that even more. Let's say I wanted to snipe people. This provides far better coverage, especially if you are around here. That way not the entirety of your body is exposed, whether you go there or there. The only thing that changes is that you can see a little bit further from here to there, which could be somewhat fun, and I don't know, but it's really useless. It has never come to my... I've never used that for playing as a sniper in this map, and I don't think either should you. So, with that rant out of the way, or rather one more example of how many pixel spots or pixel walks are rather useless, which is kind of good on the developers of this map, or the developer, I don't know how many people made it, because it makes exploiting the map's faults not advantageous to you. Let's say I can walk across all of these pixel walks or across that one, but for example this one, you just jump down. It doesn't change anything except that you get a bit more fall damage, but not get fall damage, you just walk off the side. With this one, oh, you would say I can get from there to there, but guess what? You can just jump across it. So Any kind of spas that may be here, I'm not going to show you because they're very useless and they can just be replaced by other stuff. And with that out of the way, I will show you the last couple of spas that I found that are going to be very, very basic, something that most people can figure out, but I didn't want to leave this map empty because I think there are still people who are going to enjoy this game regardless of how it feels to play as a spy. Okay, let's get to it. Honestly, I applaud your patience, and I'm very impressed that you got here. All I want to say is thank you very much for watching this, because I really enjoy making these things, and I apologize for all the button clicking in the microphone, but I cannot get it cleaned up until I get a new microphone. Other than that, I already have a few more heavily edited projects in the works, and I'll see you then. Thank you very much for watching again, and bye bye.